Hello and welcome to, as Kaz is setting up here, lighting in the background, welcome to the FocusHoops WBBL Cup Final post show. In fact, we are reviewing the game. As always, Kaz Bullock, WBBL commentator and expert. Michael Hansen-Morris, WBBL commentator, WNBL Coach of the Year 2019-20 and expert, and also crack interviewer we learned this week. And of course, the one, the only, as if we've got Hannah Shaw live on the show. Just doesn't need a resume telling. Usually got the jersey, got the green screen, without Hannah Shaw. I was thinking about putting Hannah Shaw's face on there, but that would have been a bit, a bit weird. Hannah Shaw, obviously GB International, teammate of Hannah Robb, and all-round amazing egg, plays for the Manchester Mystics, commentated by Kaz Bullock, of all people. Hannah, huge game that we have just seen, obviously won by the Leicester Riders. Just your opening thoughts.
I know it started off a bit wobbly, but I was in no doubt that 7X were going to get that tight, really get some points on the board because, they're a really experienced team. There's a reason why they've been the best team in the league for the past couple of years. They're just well-oiled, they're well-coached. They're a selfless team and they're full of quality players. I think, unfortunately, today they're just missing one or two people that will just give them that extra break, give them some extra looks. But Leicester, just did a great job, made sure everybody knew their role, everybody played for each other, shared the ball, made the cuts, and, couldn't have asked for a better game for him.
A really, really impressive performance from the Leicester Riders. Mikey, let's kick off with your analysis, really, from your coaching eye point of view. What did you see?
Well, ultimately, it came down to who could expose the other team's weakness, and ultimately that was the size difference. Leicester went big. A lot in the first half. They had the likes of Gaskin, Clark on the floor. I think at one point they had three real bigs on the floor. I think Ella was playing the three, and actually that kind of hurt the Riders' offense. And then Jesper made the halftime adjustment. To his credit, he went small and started Hannah Robb instead of Ella Clark, which kind of put really four guards on the floor. Obviously, Leicester got the versatility, they've got that, but that really allowed them to match up a little bit better on the defensive end. And Sevenoaks tried to pick on some of the matchups. They tried to pick on extending Kate Oliver out to the 3-point line and things, but ultimately Leicester just had enough different weapons. And Leicester's defense really clamped down on the main threats. And we knew Renee Bush coming in was going to be a key, and she took 4 shots. And Sevenoaks were looking for her. Just Leicester did a great job of taking away those looks. And when Leicester have got that extra depth, that's kind of what showed through. You can't take everything away, and Leicester have always just got that one extra piece coming at you.
So who was that one extra piece coming at them today from your point of view, Mikey?
I mean, everyone. If you just look at the minutes as well, ultimately Sevenoaks really got a combined 21 minutes out of Millie Stevens and Asher Andrews. And outside of that, it was pretty much everyone on the court together. And Leicester's bench, they got obviously 31 minutes from Hannah Robb off the bench, but Christina Gaskin filled in for 15 and made 2 big threes early on in the game when Sevenoaks was still struggling a little bit. And yeah, everyone just kind of made little plays. Like, we didn't see as much Leicester on the defensive end turn Sevenoaks over, but again, just 2 or 3 times that they did led to the fast break points. And that's kind of what made the difference, because Leicester turned the ball over more than Sevenoaks, but the fact was Leicester got live ball steals and were able to get out and run off those and got the layups, and they had 13 points off 10 turnovers, and Sevenoaks only had 5 points off the Leicester's 11. So again, suddenly it was a 7-point game with 6 minutes to go, and Leicester won the fast break points by 7 and won points from turnovers by 8. And suddenly there's a difference in the ball game.
Kaz Bullock, you're going to head over to you, obviously, seeing Leicester quite a bit this season. What did you make of them? Just opening thoughts on the final.
Yeah, I think Leicester did kind of what we expected them to do from what we've seen of them this season. It's their defense that's really strong, and they've got players where you know, they might not be scoring too much, but they're putting that extra effort in. They're going after the ball, that hustle, the things that don't always show up on the stat sheets. Some of the plays that Hannah Robb made, defensive end, you know, really strong. And they've kept the momentum that they've had throughout the season. And, you know, they are unbeaten, and everything fits together so well for them.
So, Hannah, let's dive in firstly. And I said it off the top during my rather lengthy introduction of you. Your GB teammate, Hannah Robb. Let's start with Hannah Robb, because I know you're obviously dying to talk about Janice Monacana, and what a player. Another outrageous performance from Janice. But let's just talk about Hannah Robb and what she brings to the game.
I think she fits into Leicester's system really well. It's selfless. To come off the bench and still play 31 minutes and put in like as good of a shift as she did. I mean, she really was their extra spark. She really nailed it. She's a big reason of why they won today. And so, what a great job she did. So I'm really happy for
her. Given that you've got that experience playing with her, just talk a little bit about what she brings to, I mean, the GB team, but also this team today. Obviously that spark, but what else can she do, and did she show?
Well, she definitely went after everything. You know, we had a couple of really solid defensive plays where, I mean, everybody says the word hustle, but like, it's true. She really does. She must make that extra little effort, that extra step. And then you have to guard her. You've got to guard on the three. You've got to guard her when she's going to the basket. You know, she is an all-rounder there. What she doesn't have in size, it doesn't really matter. So, you know, she just did a really good job.
Mikey, who did you have as pick for MVP?
I think I said Kate last night, but I can't quite remember.
Last night was Kate. Last night I think you said Kate.
In game. Look, I think it could have, for me. Look, Kate was great, and Sevenoaks didn't have a matchup for her, and in a way, I think we kind of expected once we knew Lavinia De Silva was out. Once we knew Coppola left, and that was kind of confirmed that Sevenoaks were going to struggle with Kate, and we thought she could dominate. And look, she's certainly on the offensive end. Sevenoaks didn't have an answer for her. Glenn was trying to find different matchups, and Leicester did a good job exposing that, especially early on in the game. That's what really got Leicester settled, was going to Kate early. I think she had 10 points the first 6 minutes. But Hannah Robb, for me, as Hannah said, and I don't want to say we got it right in the preview, but we got it right in the preview. I talked with Jesper just yesterday about Hannah Robb's defensive impact. And the thing is, Sevenoaks knew they needed scoring. And one of my first things I've got in my notes from the game while I was taking notes during the game is Hannah Robb checks in, who's she guarding? The answer was Renee Bush. And at that point, Renee had already got, I think, 3 shots up. So she only took 1 shot the rest of the game. And Leicester switched some stuff, and it was 100% a team effort. But Hannah Robb spent a lot of time on Renee, and Renee just didn't have an opportunity to shoot the ball. She didn't even touch the ball a lot because of the way Hannah Robb was playing. And that's the selfishness that Hannah talked about Hannah. She was just, her job on the defense end was to make Renee's life as difficult as possible, and it worked. And then she contributed on the offensive end massively. She was 6 of 9 from the floor, and came up with some big plays in the second half, which is what really Leicester needed, because Sevenoaks at one point looked like they were going to come back from 17 down and take the lead and give themselves a good opportunity to win the game.
So, Kaz, let's just talk about the MVP, Kate Oliver. What did you see out of her game today?
So I thought, Kate had a fantastic game, didn't she? Finished on 18 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, 2 blocks. And like Mikey said, 10 points in the first 6 or so minutes. She just looked unstoppable to start with. Maybe quieting down a little bit in the second quarter, but then in the second half, got back into it. And just her size and her presence in the post is hard to contain. And she's got so many moves in her bag. She can just get to the basket as she wants to. So she had very well deserved as the MVP, and a great game. She's been having a great season as well.
Yeah, I know, Mikey. The thing ringing in my ear from the preseason preview was, Kate Oliver, league MVP from Michael Hansen-Morris. And I mean, I don't know what you think, Hannah Shaw, but right now, I mean, that's not looking a terrible shout. Obviously, you've had to play against her. just what is your experience and how do you feel about the MVP award?
I think she did a great job today. 100% deserved the MVP award because regardless of what the stat line says, you put it, I'm going to say it now, as a person who genuinely is underneath the basket, you get hit a lot. And so it's stuff that doesn't go on a stat sheet, but you have to move yourself and also know that you're a target. And I think it's just that extra constant sort of effort just to keep going. And I'm really, really happy for her. She had a great game. League MVP, I don't know. I think it's really early. In football, you'd say nobody won the league in November. Well, nobody won the WBBL in February. We've only just started, so I'm not going to comment on that one.
That's fair enough. That's absolutely fair enough. Mikey, you're trying some sort of skullduggery right now. Do you want to go ahead and take over with a little thing that you're trying?
Yeah, I mean, and Hannah will attest to this. This is the stuff that for a big is a nightmare. Like, obviously, Sevenoaks worried about Kate in the paint there, undersized, and then you've got someone that can do stuff like this. Pull up. She obviously liked the matchup with Million. That's the stuff that Kate's gone, and we know she can shoot the threes. What's going on? Yeah, we know she can shoot the threes, but now she's adding that stuff off the bounce as well. There's not a good way to guard Kate, and that's the issue.
As somebody who has to go up against that kind of play, Hannah, just talk us through what we've seen there.
You can see that, I'm not sure who's defending her there, but you can see that they've sunk down. They're in the paint, and so they're obviously concerned that she's going to dive to the basket because most, quite a lot of bigs generally would be diving to the basket, but no, she's out there. She's nearly a meter outside the 3-point line. And then, so you're already then, your second thought is that she's going to shoot a three. So you need to go out to it. But then for her to be able to go past you, not even just a one bounce pull up, 2 dribbles to get legit into the paint, it's just money. You can't, it's a really difficult thing to have to guard all 3 of those things that she can do really well.
Michael, have you got any more of those clips up your sleeve?
Not currently, but I was going to say that I think the next possession, the possession after that, because I put it in my notes that it was Millie Stevens in that clip, and then next possession or possession after that, Kate hits the 3 again on Millie Stevens, and it was clearly, I think, I don't know if it was the game plan or it was just the way it evolved, but clearly that's the matchup they went to because they kind of went away from that for a spell when like Kat Carr was guarding and stuff, and obviously we saw the high-low stuff work a little half, but this is the stuff, and that's like 2 possessions after she's just hit the pull-up, and now it's like, now your 5's getting dragged out the paint if you're Sevenoaks, and now you're just trying to find all those matchups. But it was interesting that Len went early on to try and get Kat on Kate Oliver, and as soon as that matchup didn't happen, Leicester found it every time early on, and that's kind of what sparked the lead. And ultimately, Leicester won the game in the first 5 minutes. Obviously, there was some runs back and forward, and Sevenoaks got it down to a couple of possessions, but it was 21-4 after 6 minutes. And I really think Len is probably regretting not using the timeout early because he waited till 5:26 left in the first quarter, so 4.5 minutes in. At that point, they're down 14. Janice is still on the bench, and obviously, hindsight, wonderful thing how good Janice was for Sevenoaks and what spark she gave him offensively. But that kind of changed the game because it is so hard to come back against a team that are so defensively heavy like Leicester. Because, and Hannah will test this, you can make a run, but when you're down 14-17, you're going to need 2 or 3 significant runs because a team like Leicester are always going to have a run in them themselves, and that's the thing that Sevenoaks did. You spend so much energy getting them back into the game, and at some point, Leicester are going to make that run, and they did late third quarter, and that was enough to kind of clinch it.
Now, Len Bush is a better basketball brain than I will ever be, and I'm never going to claim otherwise. However, I don't understand quite why he went so long before bringing Janice Maracana in. And this, I do think back to the last time these two faced in the final, it was the WBBL Cup Final. Janice Maracana, MVP, started on the bench that day, I believe, but came in pretty early and completely changed the game then. Yes, she changed the game today, a little bit too late, I think. Already the damage ultimately was done. But why do you think she started on the bench and came in a little bit later than maybe ideal?
I think Len wanted to try and match Kate with a little bit of size, but then he didn't put Stevens on Oliver, so I don't know what his thinking was. Maybe he's just decided that, and we can attest to this in multiple levels, that sometimes someone's just better off the bench. I mean, Hannah Robb ultimately did the same thing as Janice today. They both played major minutes off the bench. So I wonder if it's just that Len has decided Janice is suited well to coming off the bench, maybe seeing the game first, getting used to the flow, and then coming in. So yeah, there's always those factors that we don't see in practice. But yeah, that certainly is a logical thing. And look, if you're playing 29 minutes off the bench, you're still playing 29 minutes. To me as a coach, I'm not as fussed about the start of thing. I just think Len left that time out, and getting Janice in initially, just in hindsight, was a minute or two too long.
Yeah, it's not the starter thing. It is the time thing. Again, it was going downhill in a hurry, and you've got Janice Montacana, who is a real game changer. Did he wait a bit today? I'm not about to second guess Len Bush. I'm just asking questions. Hannah Shaw, I really want to come back to you because, of course, we're talking about Janice Montacana, and if anybody's looking at your Twitter account, just great. And actually, Focus Hoops is officially now a Hannah Robb and Janice Montacana fan account. So just an FYI on that one. But Kaz, I just want to come to you real quick. Well, not real quick. Take your time. It's your show, Kaz. But Janice Montacana.
I mean, she was fantastic, wasn't she? And she gave Seven Oaks that spark that they needed to get back into it after being 17 down. She was just the three that she hit that set off the chain of threes. It just, you can see how pumped up the team was, and it's so important to have a player like that and that can make those plays, and that's going to give you that spark when you're in those positions where you are down and you need to get back into it. She so what, they went into halftime 4 points down after that three at the buzzer, which really gave them back some of the momentum. But the third, they did struggle in the third, didn't they? But Janice just had an amazing game, and you could just see, no matter how they were defending her as well, she was knocking them down. Yeah,
just in this clip here. And by the way, big shout out to the WBBL and BBL Buzz for allowing us to use these clips. Just Janice Montacana, just a problem for them everywhere, hitting from outside three there, like we said. What was it? 3 on the spin she hit Hannah Shaw. Just again, just tell us what it's like to work with Janice Montacana, obviously, on the GB program.
I just think she's great. She was my teammate in Nottingham for a little while. She was injured for most of the season, though, so that was so we didn't get to play together as much. But she's just so talented. She can shoot the three so well, and she does such a good job getting to the rim. And you know, she's really strong. If she's coming towards you, maybe you want to be there and help, but also maybe you don't want to be there and help, because she really is such a good player. I mean, we saw her today. She was shooting over everyone, and then she was getting to the rim, and that really, really nice reverse that she had. You know, my housemate, I'm in a 3-story house, and she was on the bottom, and I heard her scream. That's how good it was. She's just such a joy to watch, and she's such a nice teammate to have as well. So, you know, I'm really, really happy she had such a good performance today.
Now, could she have been MVP?
No.
No? Because they didn't win.
100%. Because if you were really that valuable, you would have won the game. I'm sorry. It's not football. You don't get points for trying.
No, I think the other thing with that is she wasn't super efficient. Was she effective? Yeah, but she was 7 of 18 from the floor. Now, if that turns into like 10 of 11 and stuff, the kind of the feeler changes almost in a way. But yeah, when you're 7 of 18, she still missed 11 shots. And again, Hannah's kind of right in that if she goes 12 of 18, Seven Oaks probably win the game. And okay, now we're saying score 12 of 18, and we know, as basketball people, we know how hard that is. But that's the kind of thing as well, that she was high usage for Seven Oaks today, and she wasn't the only one that struggled from the floor. And obviously, we remember the 3 triples early, and she got to the foul line a lot. I think she shot 11 foul shots in the end, and she was super aggressive. But yeah, it's that little step down. But she was the reason the game was as close as it was for as long as it was.
Hannah, just a reminder, who was the assistant coach on that Nottingham team that year?
Did we have one?
No, I don't know.
Oh, it was Mikey, and he did such a great job. I've never played for a coach as organised as Mikey. I mean, I love Dave Greenaway, but Mikey's there with his scout. Guys were doing this. you know, when Dave has that second where he's got to think, Mikey's there with the answer. So, you know.
Actually, I've just remembered the funny, because obviously, Hannah, you moved to Northumbria to end the year, and you will miss this, but the practice we had before the cup final that year. So at this point, as Hannah alluded to, Janice was still hurt and hadn't played, but we did a little friendly. We finished practice on the Saturday before the final with a half-court shot, and there was some money on the line for it. And having not played all season, who makes the half-court shot on the first attempt?
Of course she does.
Of course she does. And I've still got the video, so and her reaction was like today. She's such value. Everyone had such an enjoyment with it, and she's loose, and her game is evolving. And I know me and Greg talked about the involvement of Renee, but Janice a couple of years ago was on the scout, was always a left driver, and that was kind of the thing. And people knew she could shoot the three, and the threes developed, but now you're starting to see her go right to then, and stuff like that. And she's evolving a game, becoming more dynamic threat offensively, and you can see that. And obviously, she took the charge, and she's willing to put her body on the line for a team, and that's what makes her so liked by her teammates and such a good person to be around.
Just going to chuck in another nice little play from the victorious Leicester Riders, just because.
Have we got Janice's amazing Euro step high off the glass?
I've not seen it anywhere, but
no, not seen it anywhere.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, Janice made some great plays, and she looked like she was hurt at the end of the game too. And kind of a story. Obviously, Sevenoaks play tomorrow. I'm going to be there, but Kat and Janice both came out of that looking banged up. And the fact that they were able to both fight through, and you could see Janice visibly limping with 2 minutes to go when she went to the foul line. And you couldn't tell in the game. You saw the injuries in a such, and you saw it happen, but they both just went through the pain barrier today, and that's what you expect from Sevenoaks and how well they play and how tough they are to beat.
Another clip, again, thanks to WBBL and BBL Buzz, Ella Clark with the rejection. Just again, Hannah, just from your player's eye view, just what's it like to play against Ella Clark and players like her?
Ella's really talented, and to add on top of that, she's really long as well, and it's difficult to guard that. It is. She shoots the three really, really well. You know, she can put it on the floor. She can shoot the pull-up. Like, she's a really quality all-round player. So it is difficult. But look at that. She wasn't really in a good defensive position there, but she still managed to not commit a foul and get a really good touch on the ball. That's a really great quality to have in a player. So, I really like watching Ella play. She's just really nice to watch.
She's going to be a big loss when in games she misses going to netball. This Leicester team will miss that impact from Ella, and also they've got replacements with. Sure, it'll be like Christina Gaskin, Whitney Allen stepping up, but she can sort of glue that team together. She gives them the opportunity to stretch the floor, and when Kate's out, Ella's the type of person that can kind of plug into that defensive system of protecting the paint as well with that length.
I think it's only fair that we just take a quick look and obviously talk about the player who was just rejected on that play by Ella Clark. By the way, Mikey, you know I was going to go there with the follow-up question of Hannah Shaw. She's going to miss time playing netball as a competitor. How does that make you feel? So I will go with that question. Hannah.
I'm marginally good at one sport, so to be really good at two sports is super impressive. My own personal feelings aside, I think stem from not enjoying netball as a child. But you know what? Netball in this country is the biggest sport for women. Our Super League is the second best league in the world. So she's doing it all. She's doing a great job. And, she should be really proud of herself because she's a credit to the Leicester Riders and to the Loughborough Lightning.
As somebody who, competes in the same league, you see a player like that maybe missing time, because of her, incredible other commitments. How does that make you feel as a player, being like, oh, do we have more of a chance against this Leicester side?
I mean, we got blown out by Leicester this year in our first game. It just wasn't our day. I think everybody was coming back. Everybody got 9 months off playing basketball. I feel like we took 2 years off. So, it's just one of them. But I wouldn't say it would give us more of a chance her not being there.
Mm-hmm.
But I know. I just want to say how great it is for her to be able to play two sports. And as much as I want to support British basketball and say the WBBL is growing, it's great. If she's getting paid by somebody else, go and play there, because their sport is obviously better organised and better funded. And so you should always look after yourself in that respect. So that's just great.
Was Chester Donnelly, who's often in the comments, thank you as always, Chester, if you're seeing this, was he talking about, did this game go up against a netball game? Am I right in thinking that?
I think Super League was on tonight.
Yeah, Super League started this evening. That's why it was a bit of a clash with, I think the first game was started at 5 o'clock, ironically, of the whole Super League season. So, and it was also on YouTube as well, so it wasn't ideal, but
I mean, you push this WBBL Cup Final, you don't have that clash, I'm just saying.
Well, actually, ironically, I've just seen a tweet from Paul Nielsen, and he's right that we've just talked about all this British talent. We've not even come on to the third player in and around the GB setup. Oh, sorry, the fourth player in and around GB setup that probably will be there in the future in Holly. But again, you've just had a huge final. You've had Janice playing great, Hannah and Rob playing great. Okay, Rennie struggled, and we'll talk about Holly in a minute, I'm sure. But there's been nothing come out on the GB side from that, and that's your players. And we're trying to grow the brand of basketball. And that's an interesting point. I kind of missed out on that this is just, we talk about growing the brand, but we need our national governing body to jump on board when something like this happens. And I kind of feel like we miss an opportunity, because if this was like netball and England netball will be all over their domestic players playing great in a final.
I agree 100%. I think one of our major issues is that we just don't have any money, and whether or not we're actively looking for money, whether that's putting our hand up and asking the government, like begging for some scraps, or going and actively finding people to invest in this sport, which has shown that it has potential, which has shown that it has a market value, especially in the last 18 months to 2 years. I think as soon as we can get that, which is so desperately needed, then we can finally get people in full-time jobs working for the national governing body, because that's the main issue. We don't have anybody there that is fully working around the clock, or even Monday to Friday, a couple of days a week. We don't have somebody there that is checking out all the kids in the States, checking out all the players in the domestic league, and keeping on top of the social media. You've got people volunteering, you've got people doing bits and bobs, and it's just, what they're putting out, the GB stuff has been, some of it's been really quality content in the last year or so, but it's just not enough, and we don't have people in the jobs to do that work, which we desperately need.
Heading back to today's game very briefly, but I do appreciate your comments on that, both of you, and echo them 100%. Some of the conversations you hear, somebody like Joe Pinchin, imagine what he could do with a budget for GB. Wouldn't it be quite incredible? The sort of profile that he could, his social media work, and like I say, the social media work, like you say, Anna, is nice. But something like Joe Pinchin, and I know they wanted to throw plenty of money at Joe Pinchin. This is live, Hannah Shaw. So let's go to a player that was rejected, Kat Carr. What do we make of Kat Carr's performance? Again, really, real leader on this club as we see the BBL logo. But what do we make of how she performed today? Obviously, she went down in the third quarter, holding her back after she looked like she just fell over herself a little. Thoughts on her performance? Let's go, Kazi B.
She finished with 13 points, 6 of 18 shooting. Kind of a quiet game for Kat, really. And we've seen what she's done in previous finals and what she does in games. She didn't sort of seem like she found a rhythm too much. 1 of 6 from 3. But finished with 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Leicester did seem to manage to contain her quite well. So that, obviously factored into it. But yeah, she did seem, after was it the third quarter, she injured her back when she fell. She didn't seem quite right after that.
Hannah, let's go to you. Obviously, again, a player that you have done battles with in the past. What do you make of her performance today?
I think she had 13 and 9. So on any other day, that's a good stat line. You can count on her to go in and rebound. You can count on her to play solid defense, and you can count on her to get up good shots. She missed a few today, but I think not making excuses for Seven Oaks. They're missing players. They're one of only 2 teams that decided to take a bit of an extra break, and so for this to be a first game back, unfortunately, it had to be a final. But I wouldn't be discouraged at all by that performance. And I think Kat Karsh has been a previous league MVP. We all know she is a quality player. So today it was just Janice's day.
Mikey.
Yeah, I mean, Kat struggled, but Kat struggled because of Leicester doing a good job. I can't remember many open looks, and normally Len's schemes, and obviously we know Len's playing a lot of broken play, but Len manages to get Kat some looks, whether it's on the little rub screen from the horn set that gets her a post up and stuff. But Leicester just seemed to make everything tough for her, and it could kind of tell. And again, 13-9, and she also had 6 assists. But I wonder if her having to guard Kate on the defensive end for a lot of the time took something out of her on the offensive end that maybe limited her a little bit more, because as we kind of said about Kate, she's so physical, she's a tough cover, and it takes a lot to do that, and you can't go flat out on both ends of the floor. And that for me is kind of why Kat struggled on the offensive end, is because she had to put so much more in on the defensive end to try and slow someone like Kate down.
Now, we haven't spoken about her much. She has come up in conversation a little bit, and actually here's an assist, not an assist. Here is a made bucket by somebody that you interviewed the other day, Mikey, Holly Winterburn. What do you make of that performance from Holly?
Yeah, it was just effective and quiet. If you, without having looked at the stats, if you said it was 16, 8, 8 and 3 steals, I would have gone, how? But that's kind of how Holly's developed. Like she can put up a performance like that, kind of almost under the radar. Now, she was making the odd play here and there, which kind of, when you add it all together, makes some sense. But without looking at stats, I wouldn't have put Holly at 16, 8, 8 and 3. And that was shows how she's matured and how she's developed.
I hope you don't mind what I'm about to say, Hannah, but I'm going to make a comparison to the men's game. That's a Justin Robinson performance I've just seen.
Yeah, she did a really good job. She, to be flirting with a triple-double at, 19, 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And to do it, as Mikey said, quietly.
Yeah.
There's no fluff. She just gets on with it. She's always working. She's always doing something. She's not... she's a quality teammate. So she had a really, really good performance. And after Kate, she would have been my MVP choice. So really good game from Holly today.
Actually, on the little poll that we had, we didn't have it out for massively long, but it came in at Hannah Robb 33.3% and other 33.3%. I'm going to assume that other went to Kate. Holly 11%. But yes, like that's what I mean. Like we say that she's gone about things quietly, very professionally, led from the front herself. That's what I mean by a Justin Robinson performance, because obviously I've been watching him play for a number of years. You look up and all of a sudden he's got like 20 and 6 assists, and you're like, when did you do that? Because you've just been here just running the thing quietly but really effectively. And if that's going to be Holly Winterburn's career, I'm here for it. And I think that probably is going to be her career. It's going to be bloody marvellous. Kaz, Holly Winterburn.
Yeah, I mean, she's great, isn't she? And I think that her performance as well, it shows just how strong Leicester are as well. That, like Mikey says, you can see almost, you didn't sort of notice the 16, 8 and 8. They've just got so many weapons. But yeah, Holly's great to watch. And she's, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? Her coming back to the WBBL after that year at Oregon, learning from, amazing players and playing against like Team USA. And she's gonna have a great career, and I'm hoping we're going to get to see her on the GB squad very soon.
I mean, Hannah, any breaking news, any insider gossip on Holly to GB?
No, I'm really looking forward to seeing how her career goes. I really hope, and please don't say that I'm being negative about British basketball, but I hope to the love of God she's not still playing in the WBBL in the next 2-3 years. She should be out playing, making some money, playing against really top quality players, and that will only help all of her chances. And it will really help us as GB, as British basketball, because she's great. We've not had a player like her for several years. And so the sky is the limit. So, really, really excited to watch her grow. Just hopefully, no disrespect to Leicester, not here in England.
What a great advert for the game as well, to have someone like Holly on Sky Sports, getting people watching it. That hopefully there's people that have watched that game tonight that have not seen basketball before, or maybe had a passing interest. They've seen that. They've seen the players that we have in this country that can go on and do amazing things and go to other countries, like Hannah says, get paid. What a great advert for it. And it's great that Holly can maybe get some people into it, get some eyeballs on it, and show the world what GB basketball can do.
Definitely.
I'm a big believer in let's get Holly to the league. And I mean the league. Why not? Why not? I personally, I think she's that special, that potential, if it develops, and it's got a ways to go, I think, until we're talking that level. But why not? Why not Michael Hanson-Morris? What did you make of Holly?
Yeah, I mean, we said before, she just did everything under the radar. I think, obviously, Holly's kind of, unless she kind of goes into basketball mode, Holly's going to be here for another 2.5 years while she finishes a degree at Loughborough. So we'll see Holly there. But again, I don't know what the plans are, but could we see a British team push Leicester, Sevenoaks, push towards being in the lower end of Europe on the women's side? Leicester and Sevenoaks have a bit of a facility issue, but now London Lions have got some money coming in on the women's side and the roster they're building together. I wonder if that's another alternative as well, that we start to push a women's team towards to Europe on the women's side. And you certainly look at the Euro Cup level and say, yeah, we're not a million miles off from having a domestic team ready to compete at that level and win some games. We're not miles off. We need some adjustments, but I think we're starting to get there. Now, that would be an interesting thing if in 18 months are Leicester ready to look at the women's side going into Europe along with the men's.
Hannah, sure.
I think it would be great if we could get a team into Euro Cup, because I still don't think that British basketball is where it can be at all. But I think we've got a team that can compete. As Mikey said, in the lower end of Euro Cup, there are teams that we can go and compete with, and we can try, and that's what we want to chase. There's no point in trying to get better by being the best. You want to get better by playing the best. And I think, provided we can all do that, people can put their egos aside and find some money and go out and chase it and go out and really, really push, then, we're going to do some really exciting things. But until that happens, we're going to be doing the same thing over and over again.
Kaz, let's just go to you with that point. Do you want to see some British teams in Europe?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like Hannah says as well, you need to play against the best competition to keep improving your game. You don't want to just keep winning the same domestic league over and over. You don't want to be a Ekaterinburg in Russia, although they seem to like it. But that's the way they're going to get better, and our players are going to get better, and teams are going to get better by playing against the best in Europe and showing that, like I said, showing the world what GB basketball can be.
I'm sure the Ekaterinburg owner would absolutely love a little bit in Manchester. Just a nice little place in Manchester, a nice little side project. That'd be nice for you.
Yeah, I think I'm done. Don't worry.
What do you make here? What do you make of you see a side like Ekaterinburg, Hannah, with basically an all-star team?
I hate it. I hate watching a game knowing that they're going to probably, apart from, that they're going to win every game, and they play such nice basketball. They're just from Van der Sloot to Quigley to Greiner to Vadiva, it's just all so nice. How have you got Vadiva coming off the bench in EuroLeague? Oh, because there's somebody even better than her. it's so nice, but then also I want to go into a game and be like, I hope this goes to overtime.
Mhm.
But it just won't. And then there'll be occasional games like last year they got upset when they played away at TTT, and you know they won't be happy with that game. But as a fan of just the women's game in general,
Oh, yeah.
so exciting. And then I think they had a close game when they were in their bubble in Skio, so that was really exciting. But also, they're gonna win. They're gonna win everything. I hope they don't. No disrespect, no bad feelings, but I hope somebody upsets them.
Avenida, the Samuelson's going to get them.
Honestly, I'm going to support Carly. She's doing a really good job. It's nice for her to see her playing with her sister. There's a player on that team who played for my college coach, and so it's nice to watch her. That's Huff. She's on the Dutch national team. So they're a really nice team to watch. And then obviously Temi and Sheridan in Euro Cup. It's just nice when it's a shame because of COVID, obviously, that they're not like every other week. But the bubbles are great, Got 2 or 3 days, you can sit and watch back-to-back games for 3 or 4. How great is that as a fan?
No, it was awesome. Like I was talking to Katrin Hjorm, who we're going to try and get on the show at some point moving forward, about the EuroLeague. She was like, "Oh, what games are going to be good to watch?" I was like, "Well, just turn on YouTube every single night and you'll find something. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it." Because it was just so much great content constantly. What else we've got here, Hannah? Just very quickly. Obviously, you've played all over the world. You've played in America, in Europe, in Australia, for that spell in Queensland. What would your advice be to a young British player if there's an opportunity in Europe?
To go and take it. First of all, above basketball, life experience is the most important thing you can get. I think it makes you into a more rounded person. Obviously, it's quite privileged to say I've travelled loads to so many places and I've seen so many things. So I'm really eternally grateful for basketball and for giving me those opportunities. But for a young British player, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but go and explore, go and find places, because we're good, we're doing well. We're on the right path, we're just not moving quickly enough. But there's so many other countries that have been nailing it for years, and the facilities, the fan base, the clubs, the technical side of it, like it's just light years ahead of us. So go and experience it, and then bring it back so that we can be better.
Can I steal one of your questions, Daz?
100%, all of them.
Where's been your favourite place to play, Hannah, of everywhere that you've?
Definitely in Australia, because for no basketball reason, apart from my flat was like 1 street over from the beach. I had really great teammates that had such a wonderful time. It really was top. So, yeah.
So I think we are very much coming to the end of the show. Hannah Shaw, amazing. Thank you for taking so much of your time. Always awesome to have you on Focus Hoops. Doesn't happen often enough. I'm just going to say that. Hannah, can you give us your final wrap up of the game and everything you've seen around it today?
I just think what a great advert for women's basketball in Britain. The quality of the WBBL, as we've all been saying, it's getting better and better every year. And great job to Leicester Riders. They've just proven that having a deep squad that is committed to everybody playing their role and winning, and they had a really great game. And Seven Oaks haven't played for well over a month. Only just really all got back in, and they still gave them a game, and that's because of the talent in their team. So what a great advert for women's basketball.
An amazing advert for women's basketball. Hannah Shaw, if you want to step out, you're absolutely free to do so. I've got some technical coaching questions for Mikey coming up, so I don't want to take any more of your evening.
Kaz, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for having me. Got to go and make some dinner for tomorrow.
Thanks,
yourself. Enjoy it. Thank you, Hannah Shaw. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Hannah Shaw, the living legend. The living legend.
And I get to watch it tomorrow as well.
You're so lucky. There we go. You're so lucky. Chester. Hi, Focus Hoops team. I just want to say hi. Can't stay now. Watching netball, but I'll play this back later. Chester, thank you as ever for your support. Awesome stuff. We need to Yeah, thank you, Chester. And you missed a bit of netball chat. We praised netball. We lamented netball's existence in a way. It was good. It was a good time. Mikey, battle of the coaches. Len versus Jesper, sorry. What did you see? What did you see?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think I'm surprised Leicester didn't try and take more advantage of interior touches, especially first half. They obviously got Kate going a little bit in the second half when Kate was kind of struggling for a little while in the second half. And yeah, they missed opportunity. It looked like Holly a couple of times had seals. I think Hannah Robb went to seal on Asher Andrews once, and the ball never quite got inside. And I was kind of slightly surprised, but ultimately the move that Jesper made to go small in the second half, I think was needed. I think he got it spot on to go with the 4 guards as I kind of opened up with. And I think that kind of changed the game for them because it gave them that opportunity to kind of match Sevenoaks defensively. And really, if you look at Janice's points early, and also the person we've not really mentioned in the preview from the Sevenoaks side at all, and I thought she was great, was Perez. I think she had 15, and a lot of those came from attacking Kay, attacking Ella Clark, and Christina Gasking off the dribble. A lot of success was had there, and then Jesper went small, and they kind of contained the dribble a little bit better in the second half, and that kind of allowed Leicester to get enough stops to kind of through, and obviously then on the offensive end, I think they're pretty balanced. What they have 37 at the half, so what's that? 41 in the second half. Yeah, 41. Obviously, some of that was fouls at the end, which a couple of were probably after the game was done. So really, Leicester on pace to score 37 in each half. So Leicester kind of managed to sustain the offense well enough. But the adjustment, I mean, and that's the thing. That's where Leicester's depth came in. Because what could Len do to change the game? He didn't really have that bench to go to. Obviously, we talked about Janice maybe could have started earlier. And really anything he could have done was maybe gamble with an extra shooter, like playing Asher Andrews a little bit more. She obviously hit the 3 in the fourth. And seeing those matchups. Because I think at times Kate was guarding Asher Andrews, which was an interesting thing. And it's a difficult thing, but she's on the court. If that's the person guarding her, you've got to find a way as a team to go to and go, okay, you're on the court. We know you can shoot the ball. If they're going to disrespect her by playing Kate Oliver on her and try and sit Kate in the paint, then you've got to find the ball going to Asher. And maybe that would have had a different impact. But it's so hard. Like, you get hindsight. You don't see these things as well on the floor in the middle of the game. And it's an envious job. And look, Len's done a terrific job to get Sevenoaks within 10. Mm-hmm. Because really, with everything going on, and I know we said we wanted to keep Sevenoaks as the team that could keep it close, but they had no right. They basically had six senior players, no bigs, not played in 2 months. They shouldn't have got it to within 10, really. And for Sevenoaks to do that, with Kat banged up, Janice banged up, was a remarkable effort. And credit to Sevenoaks for the way they did that and stayed in the game and gave themselves an opportunity with 6 minutes to go to have a chance to steal the game.
Kaz?
Yeah, I agree with Mikey. I mean, Sevenoaks have done a great job to come back that far. They had seven player rotation. They obviously lost a couple of players earlier in the week. They've not played. They've not had like that maybe a warm-up game isn't the right phrase, but the game that Leicester played on Sunday against Caledonia, to go over things, get things fresh. They've done great to just come in essentially cold and play that final and keep it as close as they did.
No,
and maybe
sorry. No, go ahead.
Maybe it's a different story if they don't have this break. If things had been played back a month ago when they were going to be, and Sevenoaks played it, it could be a bit different. But this is the game we had, and it was a great game. Because I think seeing a few things on Twitter when we started, people saying this is going to be a blowout, but Sevenoaks been able to bring it back to within 4 at the half, and then within 7 in the last quarter. They did a great job, and it was a great game.
you want a coach's battle and you want to talk about how the coach can impact the game, we're going to see it because these two sides play again next Saturday in Sevenoaks.
Ooh, a week on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously Lavinia should be back, and now we're talking about where some of the proverbial coaches earn their money is now. What adjustments do we see? Now both teams have got some time to go study game tape. Sevenoaks have got a couple of games under their legs as well. Is what adjustments are made, and next Saturday is going to be really, really interesting. Does Leicester go with a similar game plan of trying to stop the likes of Renee and Kat and make their lives tough and go, okay, well, Janice, you're going to need to put 25 up again, 30 up to win the game? Or does he go away and go, actually, does he switch where his priorities are defensively? And then for Sevenoaks is, do they do a similar thing? Do they try and pick someone to slow down? Do they try and take away Holly, Hannah? It's so tough because Leicester obviously have that depth of picking someone. I think Kate, realistically, there's not a lot you can do with Kate because of all the things they do. So we'll see. Obviously, Lavinia adds a different dimension to that, and it's a little bit better of a matchup. So I think that's going to be a really interesting thing. And it's a game that I've got marked on the card for. Yeah, just that's it. It's going to be really interesting to see how both coaches adapt, because I don't think Jesper can rely on 17 from Hannah Robb again necessarily. Look, she's got the talent, but that's not a typical Hannah Robb performance. Like, she was coming in averaging probably 8 a game. So maybe Len says, I don't need to change a lot. Hannah's not going to go for 17 again. Just tweak 1 or 2 slight things, take away the 2 turnovers that Leicester got live ball steals on and got layups, I think, and stuff like that, and suddenly we're in a position to win it. So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be an interesting week for both coaches just to make those little adjustments.
What does this mean for Jesper?
Well, a lot. You could tell in his post-game interview, really happy to get over the line, and it's tough. This is the thing. It's not easy to win a final, no matter what team's in front of you, what circumstances are thrown out. Everything kind of goes out the window, and Kaz kind of said it yesterday. The women's final always tends to be close. It's just the way it is. And look, it's the one trophy that Leicester had never won. It's the cup.
Well, so don't say that no more.
Yeah, and now obviously Sky pointed out, and I kind of forgotten about it, that now in 5 years of WBBL Cup, we've had 5 different winners, which is remarkable when you think about it. The different teams come in, and it's a building platform, and Leicester have obviously been in since August, as they said in all their pre-game stuff, and I wonder if they kind of felt like they had to win this because some of the advantages they had. Mm-hmm. Trying to get one up early really sets them, and obviously we'll never know if the story was flipped in terms of Sevenoaks found a way to win the game, how that would have impacted Leicester going into next week and beyond. But the card, and Jesper kind of said it, he obviously didn't want to say it pre-game, but he said it post-game, that it was an advantage having played games and Sevenoaks hadn't. And he said that to Sky post-game, and he's right. And I wonder if that was a little bit of pressure to say, well, this is the opportunity to make sure we get it.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it showed, like, that early start. What did it get up to? 12?
21-4.
21-4?
Yeah, it was 21-4, so 17.8. I mean, I had in my notes, it was 11-0 inside 3.5 minutes. Yeah. Len called the timeout 4.5 minutes in, 16-2. And then it got to 21-4.
But that's ball game. Ultimately, that's ball game. But Sevenoaks did a hell of a job getting back to what they got to. It was incredible performance, don't get me wrong. But that lead, which was insurmountable, Sevenoaks never led, never tied it. That lead, to me, that's 2 months of actually being able to play some games. You know, being able to get that hot start. That first 5 minutes was the game, effectively. Yeah. Because Leicester had runs, and it doesn't necessarily mean just
just so we're clear, that if that run hadn't have happened, it may not have happened later in the game. Unless, or
No,
the
that's
fact
fair.
Leicester jumped out to 17 meant actually, well, Sevenoaks won the last 35 minutes, Sevenoaks would have won the game. No, but yeah, it's certainly interesting to see what happened there. And again, we'll see it next week.
We will see it next week. Be interesting
and I've just seen a tweet from Jesper that Durham head coach Lee Davies jumped on the back of. Obviously, Jesper happy, and Lee managed to screenshot a photo where Jesper didn't look so happy. But I mean, I can relate to that because I kind of went through the same thing last year. Obviously happy, and then there's little things you reflect upon, and you're caught in the moment. And a well timed screenshot, Lee. I'll give you credit for that one. That's quite funny.
Don't forget who interviewed you post game after that one. Kaz, thoughts on anything from the game? Thoughts on the coaching? Thoughts on anything you want? What was that?
2 words. Hannah Robb. I'm just really happy for her. And I think
with you and Scottish players. You love Scottish players. Scottish players are your favourite thing.
Ever, yeah.
You're like Hannah Robb, Robin Love.
It's but it's great to see. Like I said before, really happy that she's had a really good game like that. For me, I enjoyed the game as a whole. Sometimes, the lead that Leicester jumped out to, you can be thinking, yes, this is going to be a blowout, but we didn't see that, and it was a competitive game for the rest of it. A good advert for the women's game on Sky. Where's the? Did you say it's in Sevenoaks? The next game, Mike?
It's in Sports Park, yeah.
So, right. Okay. So yeah, that will be definitely interesting to watch next weekend.
So that is going to do it for tonight. Final wrap-up thoughts from Mikey. Go.
Congratulations, Leicester. Did a great job. I think defensively, obviously there'll be some things they want to tweak, but ultimately that's what won them the game. They held Sevenoaks offense. Everything was tough. Like we said, Janice outstanding, but shot 38% from the floor. Kat Carr 33. In fact, every Sevenoaks player outside of Asher Andrews, who was 1 of 2 from the floor, was 38% or lower. And ultimately, Leicester got the job done on the defensive end. And it, again, we've gone the whole broadcast without talking about the likes of Anna Lappenkert and Sarah Hirensdottir, who were both great. Again, that's just how Leicester are. They just plug and play people. They learn the system, and they execute really well in the system. And you can go a whole game without talking about people like that in a wrap up. And actually, they were as important to the win as everyone else, just because of how collective a team effort Leicester were tonight.
Just look at this play again. This is Hirensdottir, who we've not been heaping praise on, but every time I watch it, I like more about what I see in her game. And obviously, she's been playing internationally with her twin sister for Iceland as well. So that's certainly going to have benefited her, I think, heading into this final. But
I think Chevy alluded to it on the broadcast. It was Chevy or Rianne, who, by the way, we haven't mentioned. But again,
super.
They're great, and obviously nice to get some players involved. And those two know the game as well as everyone, and they're great on the call, along with Dan and Anne, obviously, and the whole Sky BBL Buzz team. But I can't remember what I was going to say. What was I talking about before? Obviously, praising Chevy.
Hirensdottir.
Yeah, and again, we've not done a good enough job on the show of highlighting how good she's been for Iceland. And Chevy said it. I think she was top 10 in scoring in the whole qualifiers for Iceland. So it's someone that shouldn't go under the radar, and yet she just finds a way to do it, and that's a credit to system. I
think Mikey's just double checking now, and that's a really good point he raises, Kaz. But there's only so many hours in a day, and
this is true.
No, but I mean, Hannah sure alluded to it. The depth of this Leicester team's ridiculous, and it's just how Leicester It's just how Leicester do. They keep being deep. The men's side, the women's side, the junior program. There's just so much talent there. But yeah, no, she was absolutely fantastic. Daughter.
And that's so, that's what's been so critical, I think, to them having this really good run, this unbeaten run as well, because so maybe Holly's not having a great game, but then someone else steps up, maybe Kate's not having the best game. And there's just so many players that can do. So it doesn't matter if you're having an off night because someone else is going to step up. And then when they're all having their night, woof.
Just see you later. Just don't even show up to the gym. Mikey, have you found what you're looking for?
Well, I can't quite find averages, but she did have, she only had a 31-point game in the qualifiers. And again, we're talking at that level is she averaged 14 a game. She only played 5 minutes in one of the games, so that kind of dropped some numbers down. But certainly in the middle 3 games, she had a 23, a 31, and a 17 in the group. But again, if we're talking, yes, the likes of players above her in scoring, Satu Sabali had a 33, Emma Meesamum had a 32, Awak Kuria for Finland, who potentially might be the WNBA number 1 overall pick, had a 30. So she's up with the big names in the whole European basketball with a 31-point performance. And again, can do it, can score at a high level, and takes her role on the team, goes under the radar, and just does what is needed to win championships.
There you go. You say the bigger name, like the biggest name in women's basketball, Satu Sabali. Okay, that's a little bit, okay, even for me, that's a bit too much, but still. Right. Mikey, are you happy for us to wrap up now?
I need to go prep for tomorrow and Sunday.
I mean, you've not got your prep done already? That is shocking. Mikey, tell us what you're doing tomorrow and Sunday.
So it'll be me and Melita Emmanuel Carr on the call from Surrey Sports Park tomorrow. So Sevenoaks and Oakland's at 1:30.
Yo, Mikey.
And then obviously I'll be up in Nottingham for a 3:00 tip. Nottingham Caledonia on Sunday.
Fantastic stuff, Mikey. Finally. Love to see it. Kaz, Manchester
6, Nottingham Wildcats tomorrow, 2:00 on the Brand 161 YouTube channel. Have we got a clash there? Have we got a clash between me and Mikey?
Is there a clash between me and Mikey? Would it be the first time ever that you two clashed about anything? It would appear so. Well, we needed a bit of beef on the podcast, so maybe we're going to get it with these two. No, sincerely, both of you, awesome to see the work that you're doing in the commentary game. You love to see it. Focus Hoops. We're just becoming a bunch of comments. Get Greg on a microphone at some point, somewhere. Ishmael Fontaine, he cannot be far away from a microphone at any point. Surely to goodness. So there we go. Focus Hoops, your home of commentators. Guys, enjoy tomorrow. You're absolutely killing it. And thank you. Just a huge, heartfelt thank you to these two for the amazing work that they've put in all week long in building up to this final. Again, Mikey, the work that you and Greg did on that coach's preview, breaking down this game, I've not been so excited about anything we've put out on the Focus Hoop channel, possibly ever. And that's no disrespect to anything, Kaz, but that is the sort of thing that gets me super excited and I want to see. So you two, huge work, absolutely bossing it. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you, everybody, for checking out. Oh, sorry, Kaz.
Sorry, we've got the trophy coming up as well in a few months.
You thought this was done? This is only the beginning. Again, huge thank you to the BBL, WBBL, and BBL Buzz for letting us use their clips during this broadcast. If you've enjoyed that, give it a thumbs up. Let us know. And we're going to bring more and more content. We've got loads of pre-game. Got loads of pre-game content for you to enjoy. Mikey interviewed the great and the good of women's basketball over this last week. So check it out all over on our YouTube channel. All that leaves me to say is, Kaz, thank you so much for this evening.
Thank you.
And Mikey, thank you so much for this evening.
Thank you, Daz.
We've got our plugs in. All I need to say is, that's the Riders, WBBL Cup champions for 2021. Congratulations, enjoy it, and we'll speak to you in a couple of days.